This is the bumper I'm making for a 1988 YJ. I've looked at a bunch of different designs. You know, I know I'm starting about halfway through this design, not starting from the beginning. So, but I've looked at the stubby ones. I initially thought I wanted a stubby one for rock crawling. Recently, I got this Jeep not too terribly long ago. It's an older Jeep. Imagine it's 88, right? The plan was to make a stubby bumper. I've seen a lot of videos making stubby ones for rock crawlers and all that. After actually taking this out, driving the mountains of North Carolina, where and where I live here, there's a lot more trees and vegetation that you might have to push over, and it's a lot more. You need to defend those front fenders, I think, a little bit more than having the wheels free to have better approach angles, things like that. That's just my experience from driving around the mountains I've seen. So anyway, that led to this design, which is it's after I've gotten to this point, I keep dry fitting it onto the Jeep a bunch. It's just like, man, this is a tremendous bumper, but I think it'll serve what I'm looking for, which is to kind of push away briars and everything that gets in its path. It kind of pushes it out of the way, so it's not tearing up the fenders as much, because it's got the factory fenders, which I plan to put different protectors on that over time. But as of right now, this will be its first defense against briars and small saplings and things like that. So a little bit of the design. I've seen a ton of videos online for YouTube and all that, and so most nights I sit and watch these videos about this, and gives me a lot of inspiration. So this is where it's led to. Remove the factory bumper off the Jeep, and what I ended up doing was go to the local steel yard. I got a big pile of scrap over here that I've gotten from the steel yard, and went to their small cutoff area, which is the lower discount stuff. But it's for what I need for a bumper, is plenty size. So they had a fairly large sheet there, so I had them cut this sheet off. I think it was about 12 inches, so that was about the width that I needed. So they had a big shear there. This is the local steel yard. They had a shear and some other cut off equipment. So I was able to have this that was 4 foot wide, which was about the length that I needed. So I was able to put it on there. I drew up some lines with just a steel sheet, and then I came back and I had them actually on that same run. I had them run a couple more shears and make these smaller pieces. But what I did is they're flat steel. So I went back with a metal cutoff wheel on a circular saw, which worked out absolutely phenomenally for about 20 feet, and then it just died. But up to that point, it gave a real nice machined edge. It was perfect. It worked really good. But I went through here, and basically all this is tacked on. It is a lot of walking back to the Jeep, back and forth, tacking it on. In this process. So at this point, this is where I'm at. I started doing some of the finish welds on some of the areas I figured that were probably most likely to break if I dropped it, which is highly likely. But some of these areas like this isn't so good, and I don't know if it's probably didn't measure it right or something. But I can go back through here and we'll go with a cutoff wheel, cut these tack welds out on the back, and then I'll be able to, with leaving those there, bend it back in, weld it, so I don't have to do so much welding and grinding later. Because I do plan to go back through after the finish weld and hit everything with a flat wheel and then rattle can it when I'm finished. There's an accommodation here for a winch. I do want to put a winch here. Space-wise, there's a winch here. This is actually tilted forward. As you can probably see from the video, it's tilted forward, so this would lie flat on the two frame members that come out to the front of the Jeep. This tilts forward. Just give me a grab bar is really what I'm looking for. Something to tie a rope to if I need to pull a log up or something like that. But with a winch, this is thinnish metal. This is a 11 gauge, so it's like I think about an eighth inch thick. I will take and add a U-channel along the back, or angle iron on the back. I'll weld that in to give it some more stability here. The tie-in points for the frame are fairly close to this, so that helps. But that will give a strong point along with this front portion here. So the other thing that I plan on doing is I've already started this one, which I have another video on this. Whether I put it in this video or not, I don't know how I made this. I do know how I made it. I don't know if I'm going to put it in this video. What I did is I was initially trying to take the shackle and drill a hole through there. That'd been the ideal, and then just round off the edges. Unfortunately, I have no drill bits that are that large, which is 7/8 of an inch, maybe a little larger. So my next plan was that I actually had some tubes, so I was just going to end up notching this, put the tube in there, welded the tube. Turns out that tube wall thickness is about the same gauge, about 1/8 of an inch. So I end up going and marrying or sistering up another piece of tube on the outside and weld the outside of that and just smooth it and ground it down. Not the best welder in the world, but I do have a flat disc which can hide all my bad welds, which is important usually. So I have the other one, which the hard part is going to be making this one look like that one, so it looks good because it'll be right on the leading edge that people will see. The plan is take a cutoff wheel, make a notch in here as a V with a notch. Take the tube. Well, I'll draw a line for the tube, the tube that I'm going to put in here for this, and then I will notch this. Then I'll take change the wheel out from a cutoff wheel to a grinding wheel, and I'll just hog that material out so that it makes more of a C shape as opposed to a V shape. And then once I get to that point, then I'll be able to weld up all that piece and hopefully make it look like that, but we'll find out. And that is currently the plan that I have. Oh, the other point I want to make is that this, the reason I'm making this as opposed to having a real short stubby just welded to this is I would prefer that this is attached to the frame. So this goes back to the first, I think it's the first native mounting hole that's in the frame that exists currently on the frame. There's another one on the other side. So what I was going to do is right about here, I'm going to cut out a window, slide this back in there. Well, I'm going to put the bumper on the frame, slide this back through the window, tighten everything down with the mounting hardware, and then go back with the welder and tack all this back in. Not my idea. I've seen this before on YouTube, and I think it is a good idea. And then you get basically a custom-made bumper just for your vehicle, or for any vehicle that has that same mounting location. Then I can remove it, do all the finished painting, so I don't have to paint it on the vehicle, and pull it off, and I can do all the, it's pretty messy work of grinding it all down and painting and all that. I can do all that here or behind somewhere, not next to the vehicle. So I'll in later videos hopefully have pictures of the Jeep and all that you can see. So anyway, at that point, I am going to transition over to trying to work this. So I'm going to start cutting in on this part and removing this material, and I'll probably stop somewhere along the way so that you can see the progress. So it's pretty easy, self-explanatory what I'm going to do, but hopefully somebody will see something and think it's a good idea. I don't know, or a horrible idea, one or the other. Anyway, so at that, I'm going to transition over to grinding and cutting, and I'm going to put on won't be able to talk much just because I'll have a respirator on or a filter on, and then glasses, goggles, all that kind of good stuff. So anyway, at this point, we'll transition over to another one. I was able to get the majority of the material out with a cutoff wheel, and then this was I think it's like a 1/16 of an inch thick, nice cutoff wheel. I was get the bigger chunk, cut out little triangles so I could get majority of it out. Put on the 1/4 inch grinding wheel to kind of continue to hog out as much of that material as possible. Does not fit quite yet, so I need to spend a little more time with the grinding wheel. And what I need to do is get this so that it fits in there nice and snug, so when I go to weld it, it'll have I don't have to make up so much of this material, and it'll fit a little bit, look a little nicer like the other one does. I was able to get all that stuff done that I said I was going to do, which is, it's not cold, but it's not hot. So I was able to get the tubes cut, like I said. I have slightly changed my mind, so they're nice and shiny. Put them on the belt sander, just took off any mill scale that was on those. I have another tube that it will nest nicely in there to make that wall thickness a little bit larger. So I'll be able to, give that outer portion of that a little bit more space. So that'll slide right in there like that, and then I'll weld those two up together. And I'll have a nice little point there with hopefully a ton of weld material in there to keep that tight. So that if any pressure that's put on that, that'll be fairly structurally sound. This is basically what I did on the other one. The only difference is on the other one is I didn't put this whole piece in there. I only put the first one in there, and I did not like how thin this wall is on the outside. So I took another one of these, cut it in half, the other half of this, and then basically took that and put it like that on the other one. And you really can't tell it once I've got it all welded on what the heck I did to that thing. So because I ground it down pretty good too. So at this point, I'm ready to tack this guy in here, and then I will put a couple welds on him, and then I will probably call it a night. And I'll finish off, putting the flap wheel and cleaning this up, a little bit later. So as of right now, that's where I stand. I'm going to get the welder prepared. it's flux core welding. It's, you know, I don't have a gas or anything like that, and this flux core has done pretty good for all my little welding tasks. So for right now, I'm gonna keep with it. I'd like to get a TIG welder at some point and start learning how to do that. This is not my trade by you know, by schooling, but I do enjoy it. It's kind of fun. I enjoy it. So I have an electrical background, but soldering is kind of like welding. It's just it's a lot more fun, a lot more sparks. So anyway, that's what I plan to do, and let me get this set up, and then I will I'll put the camera on the welder, and then I'll rearrange some stuff, and then we'll start welding. All right. Alright, so there you have it. I have welded that up. It is 1 billion degrees, but this side looks a little worse than this side. What I will do is I will hit it with a flat wheel so you can see it's not the greatest welds in the world, but it's not the worst. I don't know what the worst are, but I've made worse. That's all I know. But yeah, it looks like it's done a pretty good job penetrating in this material. I've ran it against what I guess is the right, you know, specifications on the inside panel of that Lincoln Electric. This is beyond its means, this thick steel, but I'm not trying to bond this bar to another bar. I'm trying to just do it to this little piece. So I think it'll hold pretty good. I will take it, like I said, I'll take a flat wheel, make it round it off, make it look a little bit more like this guy. So it's close. It's close. I think it's about exact in length. So there's the two. And then I'll just grind it down, hit it with a flat wheel to make it rounded off, and then this will get rattle canned as well later in life. I'll probably go back through here and knock off some more of the mill scale, because I will be tacking it underneath, and I can't get back underneath it to knock it off later on. But this is starting to get warmer than I want to hold anymore. But the, yeah, so that's where I'm at with that. Next time will be probably when I'm starting to cut out the little windows for that guy, and maybe you'll get to see the Jeep, put it on the Jeep and see how that looks. All right, so at this point, I am going to just do some cleanup, and then I will be out of here. So anyway, pick you up on the next one.